let's take a look at how deep the Father's love for us. So we play this in the key of D, but I like to put the capo on the 2nd fret and play in C shapes. I'm gonna quick show you my C shapes that I'll use for this song. But I do want to talk about how you approach using a chord chart. So for many people, especially earlier on, if I'm playing capo 2, playing C shapes, I might want to have a chord chart in the key of C to make sure that I know what I'm supposed to be playing. And I don't think there's a problem with that, but I definitely want to push people to keep their chord chart in the key they are playing in. Now, just the other week, I cheated, right? I was a little bit worried. I hadn't practiced a song all that much, but I knew that I wasn't really gonna have to have a lot of conversation with the rest of the team over chords specifically. So I cheated and I used a chord chart in the key of E to play capo 1 in F. So I'm not opposed to doing that, but I would encourage you to practice transposing keys in your head, right? So this chord chart, I'll give a quick look, right? It's in the key of D. And in my mind, I've associated, right? The D is the 1, the G is the 4, the A is the 5, B minor is the 6, E minor is a 2. And so I have these numbers, and then I'm transposing, okay, my C is a 1, F is a 2, G is a 5, A minor is a 6, and then D minor is a 2. So I'm doing that all on the fly, and I would encourage that. Here's why. Because you're going to have a bass player, you're going to have a piano player, most likely, and it's much easier to have a conversation about chords and who's doing what when you're reading off of a chord chart. And you can say, hey, is everybody playing a D, right? Is everybody playing this chord? Because we need to make sure that we're all playing the same chord. It's much easier when you have the true reference in front of you, and then just transpose as you're playing. At least I find that, versus having it in your capo chart, and then you have to think, now what key are we playing in? And I need to check and make sure that they're playing whatever chord. Otherwise, you're gonna talk to them about your capo chords and no one's gonna have a clue what you're playing or what you're talking about. So that's what I would encourage. I'll get off my soapbox and let's talk about this. So my C, I'll tell you the chords, and then I'm just gonna start reading off the chord chart. So my C, I will play ring, so mute, ring, mute, open, index, pinky. That's my C. Sometimes I might give a big old beefy one, so ring, pinky, middle, open, index. And probably muting the high E string with my palm right here. So that's my C. My F is thumb, ring, pinky, open. So it's like an F2. Thumb, ring, pinky, open, index, mute. Or I might play it like this: thumb, ring, mute, open, index, pinky. So that's my F. My G, I usually do a G sus, so ring, mute, open, open, index, pinky. And you can easily resolve that by taking your index finger off. So that's our 5. And then our 6 is mute, open, A minor, right? Mute, open, middle, open, index, pinky. You can obviously just play a regular A minor. You should always be muting the E string though. So that's the A minor. Then we're also going to use a D minor. So you probably don't really want to play you definitely don't want to play the E string. You don't really want to play the A string. If you do, it's okay. But really you want the D string, and then you have your middle finger, ring, index. So if you play the A string, it's okay. Try not to, but I don't think it's worth going out of the way to try and mute that string. I tend to play my D minor just out of ease, open, middle, and then I bar. I find it easier, but you know, do what works for you. And then we have an E minor, so you know, you can play it with your drone, but because we're in the key of E, I probably would not. Or sorry, because we're in the key of C, right? C shapes. I would not play it with these. Okay, so the intro. Sometimes we do D, G, A, G, right, one bar of each. So but if you have an electric, we tend to do the heart song rendition, so you have an electric line playing this. And so we go D to the G, back to the D, back to the G. Just back and forth. So that's the other option for the intro. And then everything's pretty straightforward for verse 1, right? How deep, deep Father's love, G, D, A, D, and then kind of back and forth. You know, you can go watch the other video to see what I'm playing and figure out what the chords are. Verse 2 is where it gets a little bit different. So we start verse 2 with a B minor, right? Behold the man upon a cross. So we have this walk down, right? B minor, A, G, G, and then an E minor is my sin. So we have open, ring, middle, open, index, pinky. I'll call out among the stars, G, B minor, E minor, F sharp minor, G, C minor, D over F sharp, G, That's about the rest of the song. So one of the reasons I like to play my E minor or D minor, right, in C shapes this way is I find it very easy to just rock, right? I don't have to pick up my index finger. If I'm playing my E minor like this to the D over F sharp to the G, I have to move literally every finger from my E minor to my D over F sharp, and I don't want to do that. I like having anchor points to help give reference, right? It enables me to not look down at the music, to not look down at my hand, to engage with the congregation, to encourage them to be singing, which is the whole point of our playing and leading, right? It's not that we can put on a show for them, but so that together, collectively, we can glorify the Lord. So I use these anchor points to, one, make things easier for my playing, two, make it sound better, right? So I'm playing my like this, and then all I have to do is rock my index finger up, and I'm already where I need to be. And then I only have to move these two fingers, right? My middle and my ring finger from here So think about anchor fingers. What fingers do I not need to move, or should I not move to make my playing easier? If you don't need to pick up a finger, don't pick it up. It's a waste of energy. And it might be tricky, right? Because we think in shapes, and so I always have to play a chord this way. Well, that's not true. All of our recommendations, right? So like a G chord, right? Middle finger, index. This is a recommendation, right? This is functionally how our hands fit, and so it's ideal to play the chord with these fingers. But you do not have to. It's not a rule that says you have to play a G chord with these fingers. You could play it like this, or like this. Now, I wouldn't recommend it, or like this, right? You can do a lot of different things. So how do you streamline one chord to the next? And as you do that for an individual song, chances are you're actually helping yourself along for other songs, right? You'll know these chord transitions and unlock for yourself a lot of freedom to not feel like you have to pick up your fingers every time to go from one chord to the next. We want the guitar playing to sound smooth, right? Nobody likes squeaky guitar string noises, and nobody wants a space from this chord to the next chord, right? That's not how we want our guitar playing to sound. We want it to be smooth, right? So think about what fingers are shared between chords, or potentially what could be shared, and go from there. Build out your repertoire in your mind of chord shapes and options that you have. I encourage that. Challenge yourself even to play off of a chord chart in the correct key, even if you're using a capo. I find it super helpful. One of the reasons why is there have been times when, I've even put the capo on the wrong string and started a song, bam, I'm playing in the wrong key with my pianist. Okay, well, if I build up this habit of using the chord chart in the correct key, okay, if I'm playing in the key of D, I know I want to play C shapes, capo 2. If I'm playing in the key of A, I want to play capo 2, G shapes. B flat, capo 3, G shapes, right? Key of F, okay, I might want to play capo 1 or capo 5. It depends on the flavor of the song. What about the key of E? Well, I might want to play it open, or I might want to play capo 4. It just depends, but at least I know that I have the freedom and flexibility to do that. And if somebody throws a piece of music at you, chances are if you've built up this habit of reading off the chord chart and adjusting as you need, then you'll be more flexible and more able to adapt on the fly. So I hope that helps with how deep the Father's love, but also in other ways as well.